Every hardcore gamer awaits E3 like Christmas, and it's also true for me. The feeling of watching conferences on video games is something that I'll never forget. Anyway, I've seen all the major conferences, and I'm here to discuss them. So let's get right into the first one, even if it's technically not a part of E3. This year I was super excited for EA's conference, mainly for Battlefront 2, obviously. Still, I was curious to see what games, new and already known, they would show. First off, they start with Madden, which isn't a great way to start, as the majority of the people watching the stream doesn't give a shit about it. But hey, at least it's got a story mode now. I kinda enjoy this trend of sports game having their own little adventure. Then they said some stuff about Battlefield 1's upcoming DLC, In the Name of the Tsar, and some more info on free updates that are coming out. What surprised me, however, was the fact that they didn't mention anything about the next DLC, so I guess we'll have to wait Gamescom in August. Afterwards, more FIFA. And then they showed off live gameplay of the new Need for Speed Payback. I have to admit, this one, from what they've shown, looks a lot more similar to the older ones than the 2015 reboot. In fact, I kinda dig the more Fast and Furious action movie style I think they're aiming for. I think this will be a massive improvement from the previous one. In fact, from this year's and last year's press conferences, there have been many instances of EA fixing the errors they made in the past, and Need for Speed Payback and Battlefront 2 are an example of this. A Way Out was a big surprise, as something quite like this has never been seen. I want to start by saying that I'm really interested in it. Basically, this game is a split-screen co-op game only, so you can't play this alone. It follows the story of two men trying to regain their freedom, and the screen is split in half, so one person can follow one character while the other player controls the other. But what I really like in this game is that there's a real story to follow, one about friendship and bonding, it seems, and it reflects on the way you play it. Then a basketball game came and went, and it was finally time for Star Wars. Janina Gavin Carr, the lead role in Battlefront 2 new campaign, won the show for me. Plus, what really seemed promising is that EA was really keen to point out they had learned from their errors, for example by making all DLCs free. I love this. And then the multiplayer was revealed, and it was freaking amazing. This is exactly how Battlefront should have been 2 years ago, but I'm glad the game I've always wanted is still coming out. However, my only gripe with the game is that it feels a little too Battlefield-y to me, as I enjoy the feeling DICE had conveyed with the first Battlefront. Anyway, I'm probably still going to buy this one. Overall, EA had exactly what I imagined, but what surprised me was the complete absence of Titanfall 2, not even a tiny mention. Oh well, let's continue with Xbox. One of the biggest conferences of E3, this was a big year for Microsoft. They had to unveil Project Scorpio, the most powerful console yet, that we now know as Xbox One X. This was a huge part of their show, as they really underlined that games perform and look best on their new console. However, why buy a $500 machine that can play your games better? Unless you're a graphics nerd or really want to experience your 4K TV, why not spend $200 less and still play the game? Anyway, this year's Xbox conference was way better than last year's, as they kept showing game after game after game. However, they like to use the word exclusive a little too much. They presented a lot of indie stuff, which is to be commended, but they also showed some great AAA games. For example, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3 and Forza Motorsport 7 look amazing, and I was super excited when they showed the trailer for the new Metro game. I am still concerned for Xbox exclusives, as some were shown, but not all of them are mass appealing. Crackdown 3 and Forza are pretty niche games. In the end, Xbox's conference wasn't bad at all. However, it didn't end on a high note, as they unveiled the controversial $599 price point for the Xbox One X. I was really looking forward to Bethesda's conference, but it was a bit of a letdown this year, and the year before. In fact, the first time they did one, they absolutely killed it, mostly because of Fallout 4. However, last year wasn't bad, as we were given an extensive look at Dishonored 2. This year though, the only new games that were announced were The Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2, which aren't even new IPs. Oh yeah, those two trailers were pretty good, but I'm not that interested in them. The other announcements were the expected Fallout 4 and Doom VR, but it wasn't explained how they would work, and a Skyrim expansion for the Elder Scrolls card game. Oh, they also announced a pretty awesome looking DLC for Dishonored 2, which deals with the godlike being the outsider. To sum up, I didn't really enjoy this year's Bethesda conference. I have to say, Ubisoft surprised me this year, mostly because they didn't start with Just Dance. Ubisoft started their E3 conference with a bang, by calling out Miyamoto on stage and presenting the controversial Mario x Rabbids crossover RPG. This game has been rumored for quite a while now, and everyone, me included, had very low expectations for it. After seeing gameplay of it, I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. It felt like Mario mixed in with XCOM, and it seemed like a charmful but brilliant strategy game. Maybe, just maybe, if it weren't for the rabbits, then maybe this game would have not worked out quite well, but we'll never know. After that, nothing really piqued my interest that much. We already knew about Assassin's Creed Origins, Far Cry 5, South Park and The Crew 2, which I completely forgot was even expected. However, all the new IPs they presented were pretty forgettable. Though we have to commend Ubisoft for having them, all of them seemed pretty uninteresting. Especially Skull and Bones, oh my god. Has Ubisoft not learned that a CG trailer with some parts of gameplay that were obviously scripted doesn't make a good impression? Oh, and also Starlink Battle for Atlas seemed pretty dull, and kinda similar to Skylanders as you'll presumably have to physically buy parts for your ship. However, the whole thing ended on a high note, as an awesome trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2 was shown, unfortunately not showing any gameplay or release date. I haven't played the first Beyond Good and Evil, but lots of people were pretty blown away by this announcement, so it must have been a pretty important and beloved game. Overall, Ubisoft's conference was pretty great compared to their previous ones, even if I have one little complaint. They didn't even mention the previous multiplayer games they released, like For Honor, The Division, or Rainbow Six Siege, so new content for these games wasn't even announced, let alone even shown. I think it's very important to keep fans of those games excited for the press conference, especially for a game as successful as Siege. Ah, Sony. I was really looking forward to this one, but it seems this year's E3 was a bit shallow in terms of exciting announcements. In fact, there were only two. A big one was that Monster Hunter is finally coming back to non-Nintendo consoles, and you could see it was really needed, as in just the trailer, there was more innovations than the last 4 games combined. It looked incredible. The other one was the Shadow of the Colossus remake, which is, yes, exciting, but there already has been an HD re-release on the PS3. Then Sony let down many of us, showing trailers and some gameplay of games we already knew about and announcing all of their release dates in 2018, which is shaping up to be another packed start of the year. Days Gone seemed pretty uninspired for me, resembling a mix from The Last of Us and Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, and talking about The Last of Us, where the fuck was it? It wasn't even mentioned. A new trailer for God of War was shown, but I really don't like the game, so it was pretty lame to me. I waited till the very end for the only thing I wanted, but we got a gameplay video for the new Spider-Man game by Insomniac, which I have to admit doesn't look bad. In the end, we got no fucking announcement by a new game from Software, which was the only thing I was looking forward to. In fact, there seemed to be a lot less games this year. I was right in thinking that Sony couldn't possibly top last year's E3, but this year was still pretty disappointing. As I'm writing this, the only one left is Nintendo, and I really hope they'll save E3 2017. And they did. Sort of. First off, Nintendo started with a sizzle reel of some games, including Rocket League, which I think is perfect for the Switch. Also, in a later part of the video, it was revealed that cross-network play was also available on the Switch, which is awesome. Rocket League is the first game to allow players from any console except Sony's or PC to play together. Then they went on with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I am pretty excited for since the first game was the best RPG on the Wii. However, from the trailer it seemed it only shares some similarities with the first game, so I am still questioning that number 2 they put on. The good thing is that it releases in 2017, as almost all the games in this video, which is good as the Switch desperately needs new first-party games. Kirby and Yoshi were shown, and oh my god is Yoshi looking damn fine. They went again for that charming and playful look, but I still love it. Kirby on the other hand doesn't say anything to me now, as it's become quite repetitive and stale. Games that we already knew about like Mario and Rabbids and the Fire Emblem Dynasty Warriors games were given new trailers. And we also got a glimpse at Breath of the Wild DLCs, which seemed pretty interesting. However, the two major announcements that were exciting and awful at the same time were a new Metroid Prime game and that a core Pokemon game is being developed for the Switch. While awesome, that was it. We weren't even given a single trailer, let alone an image. However, what blew everyone's socks off was the amazing trailer for Super Mario Odyssey, which they intelligently saved for last. Launching in October, Odyssey is shaping up to be one of Mario's most innovative games. While I've got used to seeing Nintendo's E3 conferences being in video form, I miss the ones from 3-4 years ago. This year, however, was light years better than the last one, as they only showed Breath of the Wild. So, these were the major conferences of E3. Can you decide which one wins E3? I don't think you can even say this, as the various conferences had different high and low points, and some were, yes, pretty lackluster compared to others, but in the end, what really matters are games. And as always, this year's E3 had plenty of them. See you in the next video.